First contact. The void of space shimmered as the experimental warp drive of the U.S. Horizon collapsed, spitting out the battered research vessel into an unknown star system. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared as Lieutenant Jake Hammond fought to stabilize a ship's rapid descent towards a nearby planet. Come on, Jake muttered, his hands dancing across the controls. The ship groaned in protest, hull plates shrieking as they hit the planet's atmosphere. Through the viewscreen, Jake caught glimpses of a world awash in vibrant purples and blues, definitely not his intended destination. As the ground rushed up to meet him, Jake had just enough time for one last thought. Well, this is going to hurt. The impact was jarring, metal crumpling, and sparks flying as the horizon plowed a deep furrow across an alien landscape. When the ship finally skidded to a halt, silence fell, broken only by the hiss of ruptured coolant lines and the faint crackle of electrical fires. Jake drifted in and out of consciousness, aware of a warm wetness on his forehead and a sharp pain in his side. He tried to move, but his body refused to cooperate. As darkness threatened to overtake him, he heard a sound, the unmistakable hiss of the airlock cycling open. "Please don't be carnivorous," Jake whispered as alien footsteps approached. Then the world faded to black. Jake's return to awareness was gradual. The first thing he noticed was the absence of pain. The second was that he was definitely not in his ship anymore. He cracked open his eyes, wincing at the soft blue light that filled what appeared to be some kind of medical bay. "Ah, you're awake," a melodic voice said. "Please try not to move too quickly. Your injuries were quite severe." Jake turned his head, his eyes widening as he took in the figure standing beside his bed. She, at least, Jake assumed it was a she, was humanoid in shape, but that's where the similarities ended. Her skin was a pale, luminescent blue that seemed to pulse gently. Instead of hair, delicate tendrils flowed from her scalp, swaying slightly as if moved by an unseen current. But it was her eyes that truly captured Jake's attention, large, almond-shaped, and filled with swirling galaxies of silver. "I'm dreaming," Jake mumbled. "Or I'm dead, definitely one of those." The alien's mouth curved into what Jake hoped was a smile. "I assure you, you are neither dreaming nor dead. Though I must admit, you came quite close to the latter." She moved closer, and Jake noticed that her feet didn't quite touch the ground. "I am Zara, a healer of the Lumina. And you, strange one, are the most interesting patient I've had in quite some time." Jake attempted to sit up, but a firm yet gentle hand on his chest kept him in place. "Easy," Zara said. "Your body is still adjusting to the cellular regeneration. Can you tell me your name and where you came from?" "I'm Lieutenant Jake Hammond of the United Earth Federation," Jake managed, his throat dry. "I was on a deep space exploration mission when my warp drive malfunctioned. I didn't mean to invade your planet or anything." Zara's tendrils rippled in what Jake would later learn was amusement. "Invade? With that tiny vessel? I think not." "No, Jake Hammond of Earth, I believe the universe brought you here for a reason." As Jake's strength returned, Zara explained more about the Lumina and the world he had crash-landed on. The Lumina were a peaceful, highly advanced species who had long ago mastered the art of manipulating bioluminescent energy. Their society was built on principles of harmony and collective growth, with each individual striving to contribute to the greater good. Over the next few days, Jake found himself utterly fascinated by Zara and her people. The medical bay was part of a larger research outpost, one of many the Lumina had established across their world. As he recovered, Jake spent hours talking with Zara, exchanging information about their respective species and cultures. "Your ability to adapt is remarkable," Zara commented one day as she checked Jake's vital signs. "Most non-Lumina find our atmosphere slightly disorienting, yet you seem to be thriving." Jake shrugged, trying to ignore the pleasant tingling sensation that spread through him whenever Zara was near. "I've always been good at adapting. It's kind of a human specialty." Zara's tendrils rippled again, and Jake found himself entranced by the way the light played across her skin. He had to remind himself that she was his doctor, not to mention an alien from a completely different species. Still, he couldn't deny the growing connection he felt towards her. As the days passed, Jake noticed subtle changes in Zara's behavior. She seemed more tactile, finding excuses to make physical contact. Her luminescence would flare brightly whenever their eyes met, and sometimes Jake could swear he felt a faint electrical charge in the air around her. It all came to a head about 2 weeks after Jake's arrival. He had finally been cleared to leave the medical bay and was taking his first steps outside the research outpost. The alien world was breathtaking. Floating crystal formations drifted lazily through the air, while bioluminescent plants pulsed in time with some unheard rhythm. "It's beautiful," Jake breathed, turning to share the moment with Zara. But the words died in his throat as he saw her expression. Zara's eyes were wide, her skin pulsing with rapid flashes of light. She was trembling slightly, her tendrils writhing in agitation. "Zara, what's wrong?" Jake asked, reaching out to steady her. The moment his hand touched her arm, Zara let out a gasp. Her eyes locked onto Jake's, and he felt a jolt of something pass between them. It was like every nerve in his body had been lit up at once. "Jake," Zara said, her voice strained. "There's something I need to tell you. Something about my people that I should have mentioned earlier." Jake's heart raced, equal parts excitement and trepidation coursing through him. "What is it?" Zara took a deep breath, her luminescence pulsing in time with her words. "The Lumina, we have a biological cycle. A mating season, you might call it. And it's beginning. Now." Jake's eyes widened as the implications sank in. "And you entering this cycle?" Zara nodded, unable to meet his gaze. "I am. And Jake, I fear I may have inadvertently begun to form a bond with you. A mating bond." The world seemed to tilt on its axis as Jake processed this information. Part of him was terrified. He was an alien on a strange world, and now he was somehow involved in an interspecies mating ritual. But another part, a part that grew stronger with each passing moment, was thrilled at the prospect. "What does this mean?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "For you, for us?" Zara finally met his eyes, and the intensity Jake saw there took his breath away. "It means, Jake Hammond, that we have a choice to make. One that will change both our lives forever." As the alien sun began to set, bathing the landscape in a riot of colors, Jake and Zara stood on the precipice of something monumental. Two beings from different worlds, brought together by chance or fate, now faced a decision that would shake not only their futures, but potentially the future of both their species. The first chapter of their story was ending, but the real adventure was just beginning. Cosmic convergence. The twin moons of Lumina Prime cast an ethereal glow over the crystal forests, their light refracting through the translucent flora in a dazzling display. Jake Hammond stood at the edge of the research outpost's observation deck, his breath fogging the transparent dome as he took in the alien beauty. But even this otherworldly vista couldn't distract him from the turmoil within. "Quantum entanglement of souls," Jake muttered, shaking his head in disbelief. "And here I thought warp drive was mind-bending." It had been 3 days since Zara's revelation about the Lumina mating cycle and the unexpected bond forming between them. 3 days of intense conversations, scientific explanations that pushed the boundaries of human understanding, and moments of connection so profound they left Jake questioning everything he thought he knew about the universe. A soft chime announced Zara's arrival. Jake turned, his breath catching as he saw her. Her bioluminescence had intensified, her skin now reminiscent of Earth's aurora borealis, waves of blue, green, and purple rippling across her form. "You're staring," Zara said, a hint of amusement in her melodic voice. Jake felt heat rise to his cheeks. "Sorry, it's just, you're kind of hard not to stare at right now." Zara's tendrils rippled in what Jake now recognized as the Lumina equivalent of a laugh. "A side effect of the cycle, I'm afraid. Though I must admit, your reactions are intriguing." As she moved closer, Jake felt the now familiar buzz of energy between them intensify. It was like standing next to a Tesla coil, exhilarating and slightly dangerous. Any progress on finding a way to, dampen the effects? Jake asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Zara's expression sobered. I'm afraid not. The Lumina scientists are fascinated by our cross-species bond, but they're at a loss to explain it, let alone alter it. She paused, her galaxy-filled eyes searching Jake's face. Are you having second thoughts? Jake ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit from his academy days. No, yes, I don't know. This is all happening so fast. A month ago, I was just another Starfleet officer. Now I'm on an alien world, part of some cosmic love story. It's a lot to process. Zara nodded, understanding in her gaze. I know, and I wish I could give you more time. But the cycle, it's progressing faster than I anticipated. We need to make a decision soon, Jake. To complete the bond or... She left the alternative unspoken, but Jake knew what it meant. If they didn't go through with the mating ritual, the incomplete bond could have severe consequences for both of them. Physical pain, mental instability, possibly even death. There has to be another way, Jake said, frustration edging his voice. What about cryostasis? Could we put you under until the cycle passes? Zara shook her head. The bond is too far along. Separating us now would be unpleasant. As if to emphasize her point, Zara swayed slightly, her luminescence flickering. Jake instinctively reached out to steady her, and the moment their skin made contact, the world exploded into sensation. Jake gasped as his consciousness expanded. Suddenly, he could feel the pulse of life throughout the entire outpost. He sensed the intricate network of bioluminescent energy that connected all Lumina. And at the center of it all was Zara, her presence a blazing star in his mind. What? What was that? Jake panted as the sensation faded. Zara's eyes were wide with wonder. A taste of what awaits us if we complete the bond. Jake, I've never experienced anything like that before. Our compatibility, it's unprecedented. Before Jake could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the outpost. Red warning lights bathed the observation deck, creating a stark contrast with Zara's bioluminescence. What's happening? Jake shouted over the noise. Zara's tendrils writhed in agitation as she accessed a nearby console. Proximity alert. Something's entered our atmosphere, something big. The dome's external shutters retracted, giving them a clear view of the sky. Jake's jaw dropped as he saw a massive shape descending through the clouds, a ship easily 10 times the size of his crashed vessel. Is it your people? Zara asked, a note of hope in her voice. A rescue party. Jake shook his head, dread pooling in his stomach. No, that's not a Federation ship. I don't recognize the design at all. As the alien vessel drew closer, its intentions became clear. Weapons ports opened along its hull, energy building to unmistakable attack configurations. They're going to fire on the outpost, Jake realized, his military training kicking in. Zara, you need to alert your people. Is there any way to raise shields or... His words were cut off as the first volley of energy blasts struck the outpost. The entire structure shook, and Jake was thrown off his feet. He felt a sharp pain as his head struck the deck, and darkness began to encroach on his vision. The last thing Jake saw before losing consciousness was Zara's face, her eyes wide with fear and determination. He felt her cool hands on his temples, and then... connection. Jake's mind exploded with information. In an instant, he understood the fundamentals of Lumina biology, their mastery of bioluminescent energy, and the true nature of the bond he shared with Zara. He saw glimpses of her life, her hopes and fears, her unwavering dedication to healing and peace. And he realized, with crystal clarity, that he was falling in love with her. As unconsciousness claimed him, Jake made his decision. Whatever challenges they faced, hostile aliens, biological imperatives, or the vast differences between their species, he would face them at Zara's side. The universe had brought them together. Now, it was up to them to show the cosmos what a human and a Lumina could accomplish when united in body, mind, and spirit. When Jake next opened his eyes, nothing would ever be the same. Symbiotic awakening. Jake's return to consciousness was like emerging from the depths of a cosmic ocean. His mind buzzed with alien knowledge, synapses firing in patterns that shouldn't have been possible for a human brain. As his eyes fluttered open, he found himself lying in a shimmering cocoon of bioluminescent energy. "Easy, Jake," Zora's voice echoed in his mind. "The neural integration is still stabilizing." He turned his head, seeing Zora kneeling beside him, her hands hovering inches from his body. Tendrils of light flowed between them, pulsing in time with their shared heartbeat. What happened?" Jake managed, his voice hoarse. Zora's eyes, now swirling vortexes of starlight, met his. "I had to initiate a partial bonding to save your life. The attack caused severe trauma, and it was the only way to keep you alive long enough for our defenses to activate." As if on cue, the ground shook with another impact. Jake sat up, surprised to find that the pain he expected was absent. Instead, he felt different, energized, connected. "The hostile ship," he asked, memories of the attack flooding back. "Still engaging our orbital platforms," Zora replied. "But that's not our most immediate concern." She helped Jake to his feet, and he gasped as he took in their surroundings. They were no longer in the observation deck, but in a vast underground chamber. Hundreds of Lumina moved about with purpose, their combined bioluminescence creating a breathtaking light show. "Welcome to the heart of Lumina," Zora said, a note of reverence in her voice. "The nexus of our collective consciousness and the source of our greatest power." Jake's enhanced mind rapidly processed the implications. "You're evacuating." Zora nodded. "The attack was not isolated to our outpost. Similar ships have appeared across our world. We believe they seek to harvest our bioluminescent energy." A holographic display materialized before them, showing the scale of the invasion. Dozens of massive ships hung in Lumina's orbit, while smaller craft engaged in skirmishes with the planet's defenses. "Who are they?" Jake asked, his tactical mind already analyzing potential weaknesses in the enemy formation. "We don't know," Zora admitted. "Our deep space sensors detected no approach. It's as if they simply appeared in our system." Jake frowned, something tugging at the edge of his consciousness. He closed his eyes, allowing the new pathways in his mind to make connections his human brain never could have. "Quantum tunneling," he muttered. "They're using some kind of localized wormhole technology. That's how they're bypassing your early warning systems." Zora's tendrils rippled with surprise. "How could you possibly know that?" Jake tapped his temple. "Let's just say that partial bonding did more than save my life. I think I've got about half of the collected knowledge of the Lumina rattling around in here now." Before Zora could respond, a group of elder Lumina approached. Their luminescence was muted, but Jake could sense the immense power they contained. Zora, the lead elder, spoke, her voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "The evacuation is nearly complete, but our shields cannot withstand much more bombardment." Zora straightened, her professional demeanor asserting itself. "Understood, Elder Nyara. What of the celestial ark?" The elder's expression grew grim. "It is ready, but we lack the power to activate its drive systems. Without it, we cannot hope to escape." Jake stepped forward, an idea forming. "The ark, it's a ship, right? Something big enough to carry your entire population." Elder Nyara regarded him with curiosity. "Indeed. But who are you, strange one? Your energy signature is unique." "This is Jake Hammond," Zora explained. "A human from a distant world. We formed a partial bond." Murmurs rippled through the assembled Lumina. Jake could sense their mixture of awe and apprehension. "I might have a solution," Jake said, the plan crystallizing in his mind. "But it's risky, and it will require completing our bond." Zora's eyes widened. "Jake, are you sure? Once done, there's no going back. You'll never be fully human again. Jake took her hand, marveling at the surge of energy that flowed between them. I'm sure. Besides, I think being human is overrated. He turned to address the elders. Your people have mastered bioluminescent energy, but you've always lacked a catalyst, something to push it to the next level. That's where I come in. Jake closed his eyes, accessing the well of knowledge gifted to him by the partial bond. Human DNA contains something unique, potential energy locked away by millions of years of evolution. If we complete our bond, combining Lumina mastery with human potential, we could create a power source strong enough to fuel the Ark. Elder Nyara finished, awe in her voice. Zara squeezed Jake's hand. But the strain on your system, it could kill you. Jake met her gaze, a lopsided grin on his face. Well then, I guess you'll just have to keep me alive. You're pretty good at that, from what I hear. The chamber shook violently, dust and crystal shards raining down from above. We're out of time, Elder Nyara declared. If you truly believe this will work, you have our blessing. Jake nodded, then turned to face Zara fully. So, what do you say, Starlight? Ready to rewrite the laws of the universe? Zara's luminescence flared brightly, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. Together, she whispered. As their lips met, Jake felt the last barriers between them dissolve, their minds, bodies, and very souls intertwined in a cosmic dance. Human ingenuity merged with Lumina wisdom, creating something entirely new. Energy exploded outward from their joined forms, washing over the assembled Lumina in a wave of blinding light. Jake felt himself stretched to the very limits of existence, his consciousness expanding to encompass the entire planet. For a moment that lasted an eternity, Jake Hammond ceased to be an individual. He was every Lumina, every crystal forest, every pulsing ocean. He was the heart of the world itself. And then, with a sound like the birth of a star, the celestial ark rolled to life. As the massive ship broke free of Lumina's gravity well, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire civilization, Jake's last coherent thought was a simple one. I wonder if Starfleet has a protocol for this. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all. Quantum-entangled destinies. The celestial ark hung suspended in the inky void of deep space, its crystalline structure pulsing with the combined life force of the Lumina people. Inside the ship's central nexus, Jake Hammond slowly regained consciousness, his newly transformed body tingling with residual energy. Welcome back to the land of the quasi-living, a familiar voice chimed in his mind. Jake opened his eyes to find Zara hovering over him, her form now a swirling nebula of bioluminescent particles. Did we make it? Jake asked, his own voice resonating on multiple frequencies. Zara's essence rippled with amusement. See for yourself, Starchild. With a thought, Jake expanded his consciousness, linking with the Ark's sensory systems. He gasped as the full scope of their situation became clear. They had not only escaped the invasion of Lumina Prime, but had traveled further than any Lumina ship before. The familiar constellations of their home galaxy were nowhere to be seen. Intergalactic jump, Jake whispered in awe. We've crossed the cosmic void. Indeed, Elder Nyara's voice echoed as her consciousness joined theirs in the neural link. Your union has unlocked power beyond our wildest imaginings, but it has also brought us to a crossroads. Images flashed through their shared mindscape, the Ark's long-range sensors detecting signs of life in this new galaxy, tantalizing hints of civilizations both familiar and utterly alien. We are alone in uncharted space, Nyara continued, with no way to return home. The question now is, what path do we forge from here? Jake felt a swell of determination, amplified by his connection to Zara and the collective will of the Lumina. We explore, he declared. We learn, we grow, and we prepare. Prepare? Zara queried, a mix of curiosity and concern coloring her thoughts. Jake's newly expanded mind raced with possibilities. The beings that attacked Lumina Prime, they're still out there. And if they can cross galaxies, it's only a matter of time before they threaten other worlds, including Earth. The realization sent a ripple of unease through the collective consciousness. Jake sensed fear, but also a growing resolve. "Then we shall become guardians," Elder Nyara declared, her mental voice firm with conviction, "protectors of life across the cosmic tapestry." As the Lumina rallied around this new purpose, Jake felt a sudden sharp tug in his mind. A connection he hadn't even realized existed flared to life, and he gasped as a flood of memories and emotions washed over him. "Jake," Zora's concerned voice cut through the chaos. "What's happening?" It's Earth," Jake managed, his phone flickering as he struggled to process the influx of information. "I can feel them. My people. They're in danger." Without warning, the Ark's alarms blared to life. The ship's quantum sensors had detected a massive energy surge, a wormhole opening in nearby space. "Impossible," Elder Nyara breathed. "We're millions of light-years from." Her words were cut short as a familiar shape emerged from the swirling vortex. The U.S. Horizon, Jake's original ship, now transformed into something far beyond Federation technology. "How?" Zara asked, her essence coiling protectively around Jake's flickering form. Jake's mind raced, piecing together the puzzle with his enhanced intellect. "The crash," he realized. "My ship's experimental drive must have merged with Lumina technology. It created a quantum entanglement between me and the horizon." A communication signal pulsed from the Federation vessel, and Jake instinctively reached out to accept it. The face that materialized in their shared mindscape was one he never expected to see again. "Jake, is that really you?" Captain Elara Chen, Jake's former commanding officer, stared in wide-eyed disbelief at his transformed state. "It's me, Captain," Jake replied, trying to project a sense of calm he didn't entirely feel. "Though I've gone through some changes." Ilara's expression hardened. "We don't have time for explanations. Earth is under attack by forces we can't even begin to comprehend. We followed your quantum signature hoping, praying you might be able to help." Jake felt a surge of protectiveness for his homeworld, amplified by the collective will of the Lumina. He turned to Elder Nyara, a silent question in his gaze. The Elder's form shimmered with determination. "We owe you a debt, Jake Hammond. Your sacrifice saved our people. Now, let us help save yours." With a thought, Jake interfaced with both ship systems, creating a stable wormhole large enough for the Ark to follow the horizon. "All right, Captain," Jake said, his voice resonating with newfound power. "Let's go save Earth. But I should warn you, the cavalry might look a little different than you're expecting." As the two ships plunged into the swirling quantum tunnel, Jake felt Zara's essence intertwine with his own. Together, she whispered, her love and support flowing through their bond. Together, Jake echoed, his hybrid form stabilizing as he embraced his new identity, no longer just human, not fully Lumina, but something gloriously in between. The wormhole collapsed behind them, carrying the hopes of two civilizations towards an uncertain future. Whatever challenges awaited on the other side, Jake knew that the combined strength of humanity's ingenuity and Lumina's cosmic wisdom would face them head-on. As they hurtled through the quantum realm, a new thought crystallized in Jake's mind. Perhaps this was always meant to be, not just his destiny, but the destiny of both their peoples. A convergence of stars, a union of galaxies. The next chapter of their cosmic odyssey was about to begin, and the universe itself held its breath in anticipation. Harmonic convergence. The quantum tunnel collapsed, spitting out the celestial arc and the transformed U.S. horizon into Earth's solar system. The scene that greeted them was one of chaos and devastation. Massive, obsidian ships, far larger than those that had attacked Lumina Prime, hung in Earth's orbit, tendrils of dark energy lashing out at the planet's meager defenses. By the cosmic core, Zora breathed, her essence intertwining with Jake's as they took in the carnage. Jake's hybrid consciousness expanded, interfacing with Earth's defense networks and the invaders' ships simultaneously. In an instant, he understood the full scope of the threat. They call themselves the Void Harbingers, Jake relayed to both the Lumina Collective and Captain Chen. They're not just after resources or conquest. They're trying to trigger a vacuum decay event to reset the fundamental constants of our universe. Captain Chen's holographic form paled. Reset the universe? Why? Because this isn't their first attempt, Jake realized, the knowledge flooding through his enhanced mind. They've done this before countless times. They believe that by continually reforging reality, they'll eventually create a perfect universe. Madness, Elder Nyara's voice resonated through the collective. The very fabric of existence would unravel. Jake nodded, his form flickering with barely contained energy. We need to stop them, not just here, but across all realities. Zora's essence pulsed with determination. How? Even with our combined power, we're outnumbered and outgunned. A plan began to form in Jake's mind, drawing on both his human ingenuity and the cosmic wisdom of the Lumina. We fight fire with fire, he declared. Or in this case, we fight universe-ending power with universe-creating potential. He turned to address the Lumina Collective. The bond Zara and I share, it's more than just a merging of two beings. It's a bridge between realities, a focal point of infinite possibility. Understanding dawned in Elder Nyara's consciousness. You propose to use your bond as a catalyst for a new kind of reaction. Jake nodded, his form solidifying as the plan crystallized. Exactly. We'll create a harmonic resonance cascade, amplifying the life-giving energy of our bond to counteract the Void Harbinger's entropy field. Captain Chen's hologram frowned. I'd understood about half of those words, but it sounds dangerous. What's the catch? Zora's essence coiled tightly around Jake's. The catch is that it might destroy us in the process. To generate that kind of power, we have to push our bond beyond its limits, Jake finished. Basically, we're talking about weaponizing love on a cosmic scale. A moment of silence fell over the linked consciousnesses as the weight of the decision settled upon them. It was Elder Nyara who finally spoke. In all our ends of existence, we Lumina have sought to understand the fundamental truths of the universe. Perhaps this, the power of connection, of love transcending species and realities, is the greatest truth of all. The Elder's form shimmered with resolve. We stand with you, Jake Hammond and Zara, whatever the cost. Captain Chen squared her shoulders, a fierce pride shining in her eyes. As do we. Earth's fate, the fate of all reality, rests in your hands. Make it count. Jake felt a swell of emotion, human determination mingling with Lumina cosmic awareness. He turned to Zara, their essences swirling together in a dance of starlight and shadow. Ready to save all of existence, he asked, a hint of his old roguish grin in his mental voice. Zara's response was a supernova of love and resolve. With you, always. As one, they reached out to the celestial arc and the U.S. horizon, interfacing with both ships' systems. The vessels began to move, aligning themselves at the heart of Earth's defense fleet. Jake and Zara's joint consciousness expanded, touching the minds of every human on Earth and every Lumina on the Ark. Their story, the tale of two beings from different worlds, united by love and a shared destiny, flowed out in a wave of pure emotion. The effect was instantaneous. Across the planet, humans looked up at the sky with newfound hope. On the Ark, the luminous bioluminescence pulsed in perfect harmony. The very fabric of space-time began to ripple, responding to the surge of unified consciousness. At the center of it all, Jake and Zara's bond flared like a newborn star. Their individual forms dissolved, merging into a being of pure energy, a perfect union of human potential and Lumina cosmic mastery. The Void Harbinger's ships faltered, their entropy fields disrupted by the wave of life-affirming energy. Jake/Zara reached out, their combined will reshaping reality itself. In that moment, they saw everything, every possibility, every timeline, every universe that ever was or could be. They saw the Void Harbinger's countless attempts to perfect reality and understood the futility of their misguided quest. With a thought that resonated across dimensions, Jake/Zara issued an ultimatum: enough, this ends now. The power of their bond exploded outward, a shockwave of creation that shattered the Void Harbinger's ships and rewrote the quantum fabric of the universe. But it didn't stop there. The wave continued, cascading across realities, sealing the breaches the Harbingers had torn and restoring balance to the cosmic scales. As the light faded and the dust settled, Earth's defenders looked up to see a transformed sky. Where the Void Harbinger's ships had been, a new cosmic phenomenon hung in orbit. A swirling nebula of bioluminescent energy shot through with streaks of golden light. At its heart floated two figures, no longer fully human or Lumina, but something gloriously new: Jake and Zara, forever entwined, guardians of a reforged reality. Their voices, when they spoke, resonated with the harmony of a billion stars. The age of division is over. Let the new era of cosmic unity begin. As the people of Earth and the Lumina looked on in awe, the truth became clear. This was not an ending, but a beginning, the dawn of a new chapter in the grand cosmic story. For in that moment, they understood that love, in all its forms, was the most powerful force in any universe. And as long as beings could forge connections across the vastness of space and time, hope would always endure. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for this moment all along. A convergence of destinies, a harmony of souls, and the birth of something truly infinite. As Jake and Zara's new form pulsed with the endless potential of their union, one thing became certain: the greatest adventure was just beginning.